See, I've only ever heard this when I'm listening to other people's podcasts.
Yeah.
How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Known here, and welcome back to another episode of Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. I'm here with, you said it was Brian?
Yeah.
Brian and BJ from Ookiisora Con, which is located in, where's it located again?
Helena, Montana.
Montana.
Yeah.
So basically, this convention discussion, we'll be talking about how the con came to be, and also learn a little about how Ookiisora Con 2023 went this year for a recap part as well. So to begin, any of you can answer this. Who came up with the idea for Ookiisora Con?
Well, it's a good question. The concept of the name itself, I think we put it up to vote through a team of individuals when we were kind of first looking at potential names for the con, but how it became into existence a little bit differently.
Yeah, the convention itself. That's a whole story. Are you ready?
I'm ready to listen to that.
So we kind of told this in the newspaper interview that I mentioned before we started recording a little bit. But so we are not the first like anime pop culture convention to pop up in Montana. Back in 2010, there was a convention called Sugoku Con.
I think I've heard of that.
And they lasted for only 1 year. It was that was the first anime convention to happen in Montana, I think, or maybe just Helena. There is MizCon in Missoula, but that's a sci-fi fantasy convention.
I've heard of MizCon as well.
Yeah, great convention. They've been going since like the 70s or something like that. Like,
oh wow.
Or maybe not. What did we just do? Year 30, or is it year 4? They've been going for quite some time. They're great. But so Sugoku Con happened in 2010. And that was just a one-off thing. They tried to do it again, but they just
I'm looking it up. It looks like the Sugoku Con 2012 was canceled.
Yeah, they plan to do it again. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if it was a matter of like funding or what, but I know that running a convention is not easy, so I totally understand not being able to do it. But then there was a convention called NaguCon, which kind of started up after that.
Wait, what's it called?
Nagu, Nagu.
NaguCon. I've never heard of these cons, so I always like looking them up. NaguCon 2016 apparently was their last time.
I think 2017 was their final year.
Yeah. NaguCon 2017 that con lasted 6 years.
Yeah, from 2011 to 2017. And actually, I was involved with that convention as well. It was a friend of mine who started it. So I was on the staff for that convention for the first few years, and then I kind of fell off of the staff. And Brian had joined. And it was at the closing ceremonies of NaguCon 2017 where the woman running it announced very abruptly that was going to be the final convention. There was no forewarning whatsoever. Even the staff didn't know.
So basically, she's just like, I'm just gonna say this without you think. And this is just my personal opinion. This is just my personal opinion. If your staff should at least know.
You would think she had some like higher up staff members who knew, but
not like
staff,
you guys. You was like, hey, just let you guys know, this is the last con we're ever doing. I'm going to announce this publicly, but I want to let all you know first to thank you for doing such an amazing job. Not like the higher ups won't care. I mean, some higher ups care, some won't, but like the staff, you guys busted your asses making this con what it is, and then just be told out of nowhere, oh, hey, this is the con last year. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yep. Yeah, so it hit everyone pretty hard, especially the attendees. Like literally, no one saw it coming. A very good amount of the attendees during closing ceremonies just started like bawling.
Oh, I imagine when she announced that, they all just pretty much packed up and left.
They definitely were pretty upset. But before closing ceremonies could fully end, or maybe it was right at the end, Brian actually got up on stage and made an announcement saying that he was going to make sure that something continued because you need to have that community in in Helena and in Montana in general. And so he said that he was going to do what it takes so that everyone still had a place to go every year. And then we just kind of started planning after that.
Yeah, right as I got on stage, I had a couple other key people who have worked on our board of directors for helping with the con, and they got up at the same time. And
multiple people got up and said, "Oh yeah, I'll totally help this guy out." Because
it sounds like they didn't want I mean, it doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of conventions up in Montana, especially in that part.
Well, there's actually I feel like there was a point where we had almost an oversaturation of conventions for how small of a state we are. Like I said, we have MizCon. There's also a gaming convention in Great Falls. Now there's a second convention in Great Falls. There was a convention in Butte. I don't know how long they lasted. It was called GobCon. It was like a horror kind of convention. And then there was also one convention that happened in Helena called HellCon, and that also lasted for 1 year.
Jeez.
A lot of startups.
Yeah, it kind of became a trend between 2011 and 2014.
Sounds about right. A lot of cons were like, hey, this state has all these cons. Let's, have our own, cons.
Yes. Oh, and even right now, there's also a convention that happens in Billings as well. So we have quite a few, but we're all on the smaller side, except for MizCon. MizCon is the biggest one in the state.
Yeah, I mean that one's been going on since the 70s, so I doubt that con's never gonna end if it's been going on for like 40 plus 50 years almost.
Okay, wow. It's definitely not the 70s then, because it's 50 years? I don't think it's 50.
I think I'm bad at math. 40 or
40 years?
So since the 80s then.
Yeah, 30,
something like that.
37, I think was.
Okay, so since it's been going on since the 80s then.
Okay, I was close.
But still, like a con going on for that long, if a con goes on for that long, I mean, look at San Diego Comic-Con. They've been going on since I think for a long time too.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
So it's like MizCon is one of those, and I imagine MizCon is a big con too.
Yeah, they get about 2,000 attendees, which for Montana is really big. Comparative to the other conventions that we go to out of state, like Ookiisora Con in Seattle, they get 30,000 or something like that, which is literally the population of our hometown. But comparative to that, 2,000 or the 730 that we got is a very small number. But for Montana in general, those numbers are pretty huge.
Oh yeah, I mean, I looked at your guys' pictures on your Instagram. It looks like a lot of people attended this one. So when did planning for Ookiisora started?
From the very, very beginning, or do you mean per year?
From the beginning.
From the beginning. So planning started
2020 because it was 17 is when it was announced off, and then we started planning probably right after the event a little bit.
Yeah, I think probably fall of 2017 was when we first started our planning.
You guys were just you were wanting to get
jumped right into it.
You were wanting to get continue.
Yeah, we're gonna have a convention next year. Let's go.
I know I probably put the most sweat into the convention that year because I've never built a web page, and I had to build a web page from scratch with no knowledge on how to do it. So if you ever look at the Ookiisora Con webpage and you notice some things that are just kind of weird looking, that's because I still have no knowledge and I upkeep the website.
I feel like if you keep the website up and going, it's going to gain traction. Plus, I got to say, I love the Ookiisora Con mascot, the cheerleader.
Oh my gosh, isn't she so cute? So we have a mascot contest every year. So our mascot changes.
Ooh.
So that was our winner for this for last year. Drawn by TKD Corey, I believe is his screen name. He's part of Minty Tangerine. Yeah, so that was the winner for last year. Super duper cute. Everyone loved her. The mascot for next year, I don't think we've made an official post about it, but she is on our current website with next year's dates. This new one is also very cute. She looks super cool. She's this cute dragon girl.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'll show a bigger picture with your guys' permission, but this is.
Yes, yeah, her.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
really cool. I like when cons, especially like small cons, will have like a contest and everything for the next yeah. But so you said this all started back in 2017 right after NoguCon?
Nagu.
NaguCon.
Yes. Yeah. So like as soon as NaguCon ended, we just like got our butts in gear and like gathered together everyone who was interested in helping. Like we had NaguCon after their convention because it was like actually no, the last couple of years that it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday convention, wasn't it? For the last 2 years that NaguCon ran, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday instead of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then they would do like a little bonus day on Sunday where people could just like meet up in the park and like mingle if you didn't want to like go home yet. So it was during the Sunday event, which there was no NaguCon staff who attended that except for Brian. Like the people who organized the convention did not go. But me and Brian were there and we just talked to everyone who showed up and we're like, hey, we're going to make sure that something happens next year. If you want to help us out, let us know. We planned from there. I think we planned some sort of a meeting because I remember we were all at my house, like in the living room.
Yeah, I think Discord was a platform at the time.
It wasn't as popular back then.
Yeah, yet. I just don't remember how we might have started scheduling meetings through Discord by then if it was at least out and usable. Because I was already probably using Discord for gaming communities. So I think I just started deciding to just start running meetings through there because I knew everyone lived in different states and towns.
But yeah, we had everyone gather. We kind of had the first meeting was quite long because we had to kind of establish everything. We were like, okay, what are we going to call this? When are we going to have it? Who's in charge? We left it up to a vote. Everyone voted Brian in as chair. And then they voted me in as co-chair. And we were like, are you sure that's not going to be like a conflict of interest? We are like partners. So like, we don't want to be like a weird like power couple kind of situation. But they were all like, no, like you two are the best fit to be like chair and co-chair.
I mean, you guys have been around since, Shogucon, right?
Yes. Yeah, so we've been together for a while. We make a pretty good team, I think.
Yeah.
And then we voted in like the board of directors and treasurer and secretary, whatever other positions we
just
had.
We just looked at how other cons ran. MizCon is a sister con to us, so I worked with the MizCon. I kept a line of communication.
Oh no, that's a good thing.
To just anything that I didn't know how to run myself, I pretty much used him as a mentorship to start with the first year.
It works.
Yeah.
I mean, if I learned anything over the past 2 years having this channel, it is good to have connections.
Absolutely. We've learned so much from Justin.
Shout out to Justin.
Yeah, dude. Like, he is such a lifesaver for us. Like, he helped us learn a lot and gave us a lot of good advice. And like just going to his convention and seeing the way that it's ran, we were part of
the MizCon team prior to.
I've never been on MizCon
maybe
staff.
You haven't been. I've done
panels. I've never actually been a staff member. You have been on staff.
Yeah, that's true. So I worked in some capacity in the convention environment, and then of course enjoying conventions for several years was a helpful reminder of what the events are about and how to put them together. Kind of became more natural.
Nice. And then, I mean, like you said, you not only had the experience, but you worked for the con. And you did what most people don't always do is like ask for advice on how to run a con. Some people like the show, for example, the show Hell's Kitchen, people will just open a restaurant with no prior experience thinking, oh, I got this. And then the next thing you know, and there have been like conventions like that where people will just run it without prior knowledge. I mean, except for, going to a convention, but I feel like asking for advice and help is what would make a convention successful, especially if they, remember that advice and, keep that,
Absolutely. I've definitely been to conventions where the people running it had never even been to a convention, really. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start my own. And it's just not quite, you kind of need to like get the experience of being at a convention first to see how they work instead of I mean, totally great when you can like from a blank slate create something, but if we're going to call it a convention, it should probably fit at least somewhat of the convention mold, I think.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree, and that's what it sounds like you guys did. So, when was Ookiisora Con's first official con?
2018, July or August.
Yeah, probably July.
You guys like so you guys had a whole year of like planning since NaguCon ended. It's like
Yes.
you immediately started and it's just like, all right, got to get this going. We got to
Yeah,
like,
just
keep this
hit the ground
promise.
running and just go for it. Yeah, so our first one was 2018 in the late summer. And it went pretty well. We got, how many attendees did we have that first year?
I've kept stats on everything, so
A pretty,
Oh, nice.
you can always look at stuff.
I feel like we got a surprising turnout for what we expected.
2018 was 411.
That's not bad, especially for like, I mean, not to mention, I consider Ookiisora Con to be basically the new Shogu and Nagu-Con, basically.
Basically, yes.
Like what how Fan Expo is now, how Fan Expo used to be Wizard World.
Right. Like we definitely owe something to the previous conventions because like without them, obviously ours wouldn't be here. And a lot of our attendee base did just come over from those past conventions. So that is how we were able to get to such high numbers on just our first year because I know that NaguCon had, I think they averaged about 200 at their most, maybe somewhere between 2 and 3. Um, and so with just a little bit of extra advertising is how we got to the 4. And then each year from there, we've gone up a little bit. And then COVID happened and kind of
I was just about to say COVID canceled
everything.
A lot of cons, and due to COVID, a lot of cons just stopped. They couldn't get the fund because a way for a con to, you know, keep on going is funding.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether you get like, promotions from businesses, people go paid to go to the con, advertising. Like if you don't have any of that, then there's a chance that, which brings me to my next question. How was it when COVID hit for you guys?
It was, I mean, honestly, it's kind of a blur now, but back then I think it was pretty crazy. Like, because we had planned for to have a convention in 2020. But then like eventually I think in the spring we had to come to a decision and be like, hey, are we going to try to hold this event or are we going to cancel it? Like, what do we do? We're in a contract with the hotel. Thankfully, the hotel that we work with is very, very accommodating. Like, we have an incredible relationship with them. And then also with all the rules and things that came along with COVID, I think legally we had to not have the event, I'm pretty sure. So that ended up making the decision quite easy.
Despite some cons still going on during COVID. Not gonna name them, but I've seen videos of people going to like bigger conventions in like Florida while COVID's still like pretty massive.
We didn't want to be those people.
But we did instead hold our first virtual event.
I saw something about that back in 2020. You guys had Ookii a virtual con.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool because other conventions that canceled, I can't remember if it was Sakura Con or another convention, but they gave a shout out to us as well, saying,
"Oh, these are the Sakura doesn't know about us."
Yeah, Kurocon.
Kuroneko-con. Yeah, I saw Kuroneko did one.
Those guys are great.
Chibi did one. I think Kimori-con did a virtual con too.
Yes.
And some of the bigger cons made a list of cons that were still doing something in some capacity.
Nice.
So that was fun. So we got to run our first virtual event and we just kind of, our friends all cobbled together time and we all just had fun for way longer than I expected.
Well, I mean, when you're like doing it online, it's going to be a lot longer than, going to it physically.
Yeah, we started Jackpot games at like 12, and then people just wanted to keep playing until like 5 a.m. in the morning.
That make it sound like those 24/7 cons like Dragon Con.
I mean, just about, yeah. And people loved it. I mean, back then that was before everyone had Zoom fatigue. So everyone was still just itching to have like some sort of connection and, you know, enjoyment of the things that they would normally be doing. So we had a great turnout for that. And we still had like a karaoke contest. We had the cosplay contest. We had a little, what did we do? There was like a lip sync contest and no one had signed up for it. So me and Brian entered. And then after that, people were inspired and they're like, okay, yeah, I can do something. Mm-hmm. And we had like various panels. We even had guests of honor. Our friend Cosplay Me out of, where was she?
Oh, I know Amy. She's been on this. She's been on this channel before as a guest.
So she was our guest because she was going to be our guest for that year in person.
I'm familiar with Cosplay Me the Sakura Rangers.
Yes, yeah, we love them.
Yeah, Sakura Rangers were the guests this year.
Yes,
I saw that. I saw on your guys' webpage that they were guests this year.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, we had Amy running some panels about like cosplay things and performing and whatnot. And it was really good. Like Brian said, it was an exhausting weekend because did we run it for 3 days or 2 or
too long ago?
But it was definitely successful. I don't know if we kept track of how many people were there, but yeah, it was great.
We did.
I mean, when you do a virtual con, anyone can just basically come on.
Yeah, because
you guys basically had a 24/7 con during COVID.
Pretty much. And we did have some discussion as to whether to make it like a ticketed event or if people could just pop on, because we did see some other conventions charging like $5, but we decided not to because it just seemed like it made more sense to make it free.
I mean, I get why other cons would do that because they've been doing it for so long. They figured, okay, yeah, I imagine that because they didn't want a whole lot of people just logging on and then they're overwhelmed with all like thousands of people.
Yeah, luckily we have a small enough community that we weren't overwhelmed.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and then so the following year we considered doing another online event because we still weren't quite out of COVID yet, and there's all these various regulations happening in Montana. And so we still couldn't have a physical event either. So we decided to just not do anything in, what was that, 2021?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's how years work. So 2021, we didn't do anything. And then we came back in 2022 being very unsure as to how it was going to go. Because when you take 2 years off from a physical event, like, are people going to come back? Like, we figured it could go like one of 2 ways. Either no one would show up or everyone would show up because everyone is itching for an event.
Oh, everyone had that. I remember once cons, like mid 2021, when cons were coming back, a lot of people were just running for the gates to get back into the con with the mandates. I know even still to this day, people are still wearing masks at con, which there's something.
Oh yeah. We even still had some people at our convention this year wearing masks, which totally understandable. Like, yeah. And that's one reason why we didn't, I think that's one reason why we didn't do it in 2021. Montana had some weird laws where
I heard.
Yeah, Montana was there's a couple states that were more strict on rules, and we complied with rules.
Yeah.
I heard like the smaller states were more like restrictive.
So for example, at Sakura Con and Komori Con, we've gone to both of those since COVID, and they would require your vaccination card and then you had to wear masks. We're both totally fine with that. We're both vaccinated. Like, safety should be the #1 priority. In Montana, you were legally not allowed to require those things.
And you're legally not able to ask for like, you cannot legally ask somebody for their card.
So and you cannot ask them to wear masks. Like, it was against the law to make someone wear a mask.
Yeah, I remember seeing on the news, and we're not going to go into all that.
Yeah. We don't need to turn this into a COVID discussion, but so that's one reason why we didn't have a convention, because we just didn't want to have to tread that line of like trying to be safe, but not really.
Oh no, I get it. As I discussed with some other people in a podcast around 2020, how COVID really changed the con scene, not like mask wise and everything, but like I feel like cons themselves, especially the bigger cons, have changed since then.
Absolutely. Like, the vibe is a little bit different. Like, I think it's just kind of ingrained in us a little bit now, like, oh, you keep a little bit more distance than you used to. Like, I mean, spaces do still get packed, but
Anime
like
Expo is a good example of a packed con.
yeah, yeah, go there, right? But yeah, the culture around conventions is definitely shifted a bit. It's very interesting to see. Um, so let's see. I have this little list over here. So once we came back in 2022, and we didn't know what numbers to expect. So backtracking in 2019, we had a total of 453 attendees.
That's not bad, especially a con for its second year.
Yes. And then coming back in 2022, we had 660.
So basically it went up like 200. Like a lot of people were itching, and not to mention, I'm sure a lot of people were happy to attend the virtual con you guys did. So, they figured, okay, you got these cons back. I actually want to go to it in person and not like be on it virtually. And I'm sure you had a lot of people who were like itching for something about 2021. And I'm sure you guys did you guys make an announcement in 2021 you weren't doing anything?
I believe so. We did make an announcement saying like, oh, hey, we're not going to have the convention this year, and we're also not doing another online event, because at that point everyone did have Zoom fatigue, and they're like, God, we don't want to be just like on another Zoom call.
Oh no, I remember when 2021 hit, and I heard conventions like local conventions here's like, I want to go back. I don't, if I don't care if I have to wear a mask. I want to go back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you want that like physical connection again. So yeah, clearly everyone was itching for it because we got really good numbers.
Like almost 700 people, especially like, what's the name of the hotel?
The Delta Colonial Hotel by Marriott. It's a very
I work for Marriott company, so I'm familiar with like how big their hotels are.
Okay.
It's called the Delta Colonial?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking that up right now. But continue.
It tends to change names every few years, depending on which chain has bought it. But then just this past year, last month, or no, we're still in July, a few weeks ago, we had 730 attendees, which is still great because
that's a lot.
We didn't know what to expect because last year was right after COVID, so everyone was wanting to go to a convention. So we didn't know if we could expect that.
This is the hotel right here?
Yep, that's it. That's our home.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really beautiful inside. It has this like really big like spiral staircase right in the lobby. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's like a great. I mean, I'm not sure how many cosplayers were there, but that's like great photo opportunities right there.
Yes, that is the main place. Like, if people are going to take photos, they all like stand on the staircase, which is a little inconvenient because that's how you get up to the second floor. But most people don't mind like waiting around for like a minute.
So you said had over what 700 or what now?
Oh, we had 730 attendees.
Almost like your guys are like soon you're gonna have like 1,000 where you may have to like get a bigger location.
Well, think about that.
That's a cool concept. But
that's not an option. This is the
like
biggest
location in town.
There's nothing.
So just say if you were to hypothetically get 1,000 attendees, would everyone be able to fit in there?
I believe so.
I think so, but yeah, the idea or the concept of we might have to limit attendance is something we have to consider if it goes to that point.
Whether it's like raise, an attendance cap, basically.
Yes. Yeah. Because the only other this is the largest rentable space that works for a convention. Like there's larger spaces, like so many people are like, oh, why don't you go to the fairgrounds? But the fairgrounds is like not close to anything. Well, neither is our hotel really. But there's not a hotel near the fairgrounds, and it's just one big giant building. There's no like break-off rooms or anything. Like
so
and that doesn't work for a convention. You need to have the separate rooms.
Oh yeah, no. There are some like for example, down here coming in August. Well, this will be out in August. Out of Medford, they got the expo, which has like one big building and like 2 to 3 other decent sized buildings. Mm-hmm. So they've upgraded, but I get it. Certain states you're limited on space, or there's not like unless they decide to build like a convention center over there.
I wish. I really wish.
I'll just build it if I can figure out what it's going to cost.
I really think that Helena could benefit from a convention.
Oh, I mean, not conventions and hotels are pretty standard, for like for the longest time, hotels have been like the number one place for conventions.
True, because you have like your place to stay, you have the meeting space. Usually there's food nearby.
Pending.
Unfortunately, the Delta is not in a super great location in town. It's kind of like on the edge of town near the hospital, and there's not like anything pretty nearby.
So basically like fast food restaurants or something.
Yeah, yeah. There's some really beautiful other hotels that are downtown, but they're just much smaller. So it's a trade-off. But that's okay. We're really happy with the Delta. They are amazing and they work with us so well.
I mean, it gets it. I mean, not only that, but it gets them business too.
Absolutely. We always get we have a little convention room block with them so that our attendees can get like a little bit of a discount on their rooms.
Oh, I love when hotels do that. Sec Anime, they do that too. Like, if you check into this hotel, then you get a discount for the con.
Oh, that's cool.
Or vice versa.
Right, yeah. And I believe this year was the first year that our room block actually filled up. Like every single room on the block got booked. And so they pulled us aside and they're like, oh hey, maybe like we should probably like look into like making your room block bigger for next year because clearly like you're pulling in the people and they want to stay here.
It's money for the con and it's money for the hotel.
Exactly. It's a win-win. So yeah, they work with us, we work with them. It's a great relationship.
It sounds like it. Now on to the recap portion. 2023. How did it go this year and what all happened?
Oh my gosh, it went really well, I think. We have a super cool habit of thinking that we're so prepared. And then like 2 weeks before the convention, we realized that we're not.
Oh, that happens to like even your bigger cons. I feel like and I know some cons won't admit it, but it's like there's always something gonna happen right before the con.
True. It's just it happens to the best of us, really. But it went really well. Like we pulled it together. I got more sleep than I did last year. Last year I got only 12 hours of sleep the whole weekend. This year I got 14. So that's an improvement. But yeah, we didn't have any major hiccups. This was our first year ever getting like a particular type of complaint, which we were able to handle pretty well. It was just like some attendees, it was nothing like super major. But the fact that we lasted 5 years before we had to like deal with this sort of a situation was awesome. And aside from that, there wasn't anything like everything ran so smoothly. Everyone was so happy.
Yeah, we had a lot of people stepped up from the year prior.
Oh yeah, we had a way bigger staff this year than we've ever had.
That's a good thing because a lot of like
I got 2 more hours of sleep.
I like that these smaller cons are like getting more staff, and some big cons, again, not going to say any names, they've been like losing staff.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, we gained staff. We had what, 15, 20? How many staff members? A pretty decent amount. Like because really our staff is quite small. But like the last couple of months leading up to the convention, we have weekly meetings over Discord that are open to anybody who wants to join them. And we had like a few extra people like pop on and be like, oh yeah, I want to help out. Like,
I mean, not only do I mean it gets them to the con for free, but they have to put in the hours.
Yes, absolutely. And they do have the option, if they want to be a full staff member, you have to be able to work, I think it's 16 hours the whole weekend, and then that basically pays off your badge. Or you could be just a volunteer, and you still help out, and you can still earn money. Not money.
Ookii coins.
Ookii coins is what we call them. It's our own little currency.
Do you guys have like a picture or one on hand?
Yeah, go.
I want to see. I've never heard of a con having their own specific type of currency.
Well, actually, this con does. It's called Cthulhu Cash over there.
I love it.
So
I want to see more. I want to see more cons do that.
We stole the idea from them, and we will fully admit that. So what we do, we have Ookii coins in the form of a $5 value or a $10 value, and you earn the coins based on the amount of hours that you work. So you could still work up to the 16 hours and pay off your badge, or you could collect the coins and you can go spend them in the vendor's hall.
Basically, they're like bath tokens from Spirited Away.
Yes, yeah, pretty much.
I love
So that's
that.
our like little incentive for people to volunteer and help us out, is we give them money to then put back into the convention. So it
Nice.
continues to help us grow. Eventually Brian will be back with those. We just made them out of poker chips. There's like an online poker chip shop where you can like custom design them.
Really?
So we just switched up the colors, put our little logo on there, and it says Ookii coin.
That's not a bad idea for like other cons. Like,
Yeah.
so basically they earn those coins just to give back to the con, or how does that work?
Yeah, so they most of the volunteers, oh, and we also give them out as prizes every now and then. So like if you're a contest winner, you can
That
win
is so
coins.
Cool.
This year for the first time we actually had, you know, those like gotcha machines where you put in like
I have seen I have some vendors I went to last year at a con had the gotcha machines where like you pay a couple bucks for a coin. I remember first time seeing one at SAC Anime. You pay like five couple bucks for a coin, and I've seen those things online. They're just a machine themselves. Those things are not cheap.
I know. But one of our staff members, who's also a vendor at the convention, he has a whole collection of gotcha machines. And each one was a different theme. Like some of them had like Dragon Ball Z, some of them had this,
I've
just like
seen.
things.
I
But
love
one of
those.
them was filled with Ookii, like merchandise. Our first year, we had some really shitty lanyards. We're not going to charge anyone for these anymore because we have way better ones. So we put our old lanyards into the gotcha machine. We put raffle tickets in there. We put something else. Oh, we also had a very large collection of just random like prize support things, but things that no one would ever want, like a wrestling PS2 Slim skin. Like who's gonna want that? So we put that in as just a random item. Like you would get the little ball out of the machine and it would have a slip that's like, oh, you won a mystery prize. Go claim it at the merch booth.
Oh, here's back.
Then we also had Ookii coins in there, so people could pay $1 and potentially win one of these things. And they look like this.
I would love to see more cons do that. Oh,
it's over there.
Oh my god, that is so. What is the name of the website? Just in case any cons are watching this and they want to do something like
that. Chip Lab.
Chip Lab sounds correct.
Pretty sure it's called Chip Lab.
Ookiee Con. Oh, I love that. That is cool.
And then I use Chip Theory, which is a gaming company who holds chips in.
Oh, that is neat. Mm-hmm. I mean, if Montana wasn't so far away, I definitely would want to go to this con just to see if I can find one of those.
Where are you?
I'm located in Medford, Oregon.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe I don't know, make the trip some year.
I'll definitely try to because I want to check out more cons.
But we have had people actually ask to keep those, and we let them if they actually buy them from us, because we can't let them just take it because then they could turn it in and like get money later. So we're like, yeah, we'll sell you the coin for $5 or $10.
That's a pretty decent price.
People want to keep them as souvenirs.
I mean, I would love to keep one as a souvenir and put it in my my office space where I have all my other nerd stuff.
I could send you one, right?
I'm as the
I guess I shouldn't
just make decisions. I was gonna say, at the head of con, I have a whole entire board of director. I have to get every decision passed,
which is totally understandable. I know. I totally understand that. So what else?
I will pay the convention.
Yeah, there you go. Now it's completely perfectly fine.
There we go. We'll send you one.
Sweet. So what else happened? I know you guys had Soccer Rangers. You also had was it Kickdor? I think was your guess.
Yeah, it's so fun. She's a YouTuber.
I've seen them, I've seen the reaction videos on YouTube of anime and everything.
Yeah, she does a lot of videos for I don't even know what it's called. It's like a Chinese.
The only one I can think of is Heaven's Official Blessing.
Yeah, that one. That yeah. Super big following for that fandom. And they do just really great YouTube videos. They ran a lot of panels they had a panel about becoming a YouTuber. They ran a panel about the sports anime to BL pipeline. They helped out with them and their partner One Stitch from Hell judged the cosplay contest along with Rob from the Soccer Rangers.
Nice.
Yeah. Gosh, what else? I'm sure that they ran other events.
I'm looking at like pictures of the con, and it looks like it went.
Gosh,
It
I don't
did
know if
pretty
we
cool.
uploaded a lot of photos yet.
Oh, you guys had a talent show too? Nice.
Oh my gosh, we did have a talent show and it went so well. That was another thing. So Brian always gets his best ideas like 3 weeks before the convention. So
it happens to the best of us.
As we were building the schedule, Brian's like, "What if we did a talent show?" And the two other people working on the schedule were like, "Well, where are we going to put that? Like the schedule is made." And I'm like, "Well, actually, that Sunday morning slot that I usually take, I'm not going to use this year. So let's put it there." So we kind of last minute threw together this talent show. And part of it comes from our theme for this year. So every year our convention has a different theme that we just kind of make up based off of the winning mascot. So as you know, last year's mascot was a cheerleader. And so the theme was kind of just like school, like academy kind of vibe. And we're like, come on, school talent show. It makes sense. Mm-hmm. So we ran a talent show. We at the time only had 4 people signed up.
I've noticed like not so many people do sign up like for the talent shows or the lip sync contests.
Yeah, like I think people are just like hesitant or scared. So we didn't even. I was a judge. Brian was a judge, and then one of our other board of director, our treasurer, she was a judge, and we didn't even have anyone lined up to be an MC. And so, like, literally, as the event was starting, I ran over to our friends from the group Zap Spaceship of Love. They are at Soccer Con every year. They're a professional improv group mainly based out of Canada. And they've come to our convention every single year. They were our guests of honor the first 2 years, and then now they just come back every year.
Nice.
But anyways, I like ran across the hallway and I found one of them. And I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Nothing." And I'm like, "Will you come MC this event for me?" And so he's like, "Okay, yeah, let me go find Dawn. I think he's pooping." So finally, Dawn comes back from the bathroom and we're like, "Hey, you're gonna MC this event. There's only 4 people signed up, so please like kill as much time on stage as you can." And so they did, and they were just like saying random stuff, showing off random things. Like Rob showed off like the 4 different ways that he can whistle, which then prompted me to show off the one unique way that I can whistle, which is not. I mean, I can whistle normal, like that's the standard with your lips. But I can also, before I knew how to do that, I taught myself how to whistle with my tongue like this. Which, sorry that sounds so shrill.
It's like a kettle going on.
Go and like show off random little things that they can do.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you. Rob ended up, he like bench pressed me.
Yeah, I got a video of it somewhere.
Good.
If you have a video of that, I would love to see that. With your permission, post it on here too.
But then, like after the 4 first acts went up, who had actually signed up, that inspired everyone else. Like we had a line of people waiting to get on stage.
I would love to see talent shows at conventions. I mean, I've seen like the fashion shows, the lingerie ones, the K-pop fashion shows.
People absolutely loved it. Like once they found out that they could literally just like go up and do anything, we had a girl go up and she's like, "This is my Kirby impression." And she did an impression of Kirby and it was incredible.
Oh, I love that. It makes me look forward to emceeing my first cosplay contest this year for a local con.
Which con?
The con is called Middle Arc Comic Con. I had hit up the people
last year, 2 years ago, recently.
Ookii and Snow went to that back in 2021.
Oh wow, that's not as recent as I thought. A couple.
Yeah, no, I hit up the con before they posted anything. Hey, I don't know if you guys are looking for. I don't know if you guys found anyone, but I'm willing to throw my name in there to MC host the cosplay contest for this year for Metal Art Comic Con, and they were all for it. And it was like, great, that's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
I've never been like in front of a big audience in a long time, so like I gotta mentally prepare myself to announce the cosplayers and everything, and just use the stuff I use from my channel for the contest.
Yeah, I think you'll do great. Like you are so easy to talk to, and you talk so well, and your voice sounds great. Like
Been doing this for 2 years. I hope so. But no, back to the con. I also know that you had the AMV one and how many people attended the cosplay chess?
I was not in the room for that. I know that we at least had a full chessboard because the event happened.
I think I walked by the room. It had for the event what it is. It had great attendance in the like. It wasn't full, but I did see a lot of the chairs filled.
Nice. I remember hearing about the first time I heard about cosplay chess was for KomoriCon.
Oh,
they have a cosplay chess, and it's like that is cool.
It's like a staple. Like most conventions have it. It can be really hard to pull off because you need an amount. How many?
36 players.
However many chess.
Like a decent size, and I'm sure you guys had like the space for it too.
Yeah, you need to have a big room. You need to have
two pieces.
You need to have a giant chessboard. So we just got those big like 2x2 like foam like puzzle piece like gym floor kind of.
Oh, I know gym mat type things. Yeah.
Yeah, those things. So we got those, and they're like black and blue checkered. And so yeah, the hardest part is getting enough players because not only do you need you need 32 people to be in it to make it happen, but then of course you also want an audience. But then when there's also other events happening at the same time during the convention, like it can definitely like spread the event thin a little bit. But the people who go to it really, really love it. And so that's kind of why it stuck around. Anytime that I've been in cosplay chess, I don't love it. That's my own personal opinion. I am not that type of a performer because a lot of it is performing. Like you are acting as your character, you're doing a little battle, even though you know who's going to win because it's just when a piece captures another. But that's just like that's not my thing. But I do absolutely respect the people who do it because like at Ookiisora Con we watch it and it is incredible. Like the Sakura Rangers are like a huge part of that, and Iki and Snow.
I heard they are. I heard they play a big part.
Yeah, they do, and they put so much work into it, and it's so good. Nice. And so the fact that we're able to provide that here for our attendees as well is like kind of a big deal. Like it's a really hard thing to pull off at a small convention because there's just not as many bodies as a larger.
I believe it. So I gotta ask.
Yes.
It's a picture I saw. It says "Return of the Cardboard." Mind going explain a little bit about the cardboard?
Yes. So there is a group in Helena called Adventures in Cardboard. They work mainly at the local art museum. They do like summer camps and other events throughout the year, mainly for like elementary to middle school age, or actually maybe up to high school, where they can just come in and build things out of cardboard. The two people who run it are like incredible like theater people. And they can help you make like literally anything out of cardboard, like swords, like they made like this giant dragon head one time. They can make like suits of armor, like all sorts of stuff. I met them through a mutual project that we were working on. And I asked them like 2 years ago, I was like, hey, would you want to like run a little cardboard thing at my convention? And they're like, oh my God, yes, we'd love to. They did. It was a huge hit. And so they came back again this year. And again, it was very popular to the point where they said, hey, I think next year we might need a bigger room because we kind of ran out of space with the amount of people that came in. So yeah, it's just like I think it's like a 3-hour time slot where you can just like go in. They have all the supplies there, all the cardboard, all the I'm assuming cutting tools and tape or glue or whatever, and they will like help you like stencil out and build whatever. I think in that photo might have been like a Mega Man.
Yeah, it looks like a Mega Man arm blaster.
Yeah, they are just so talented and creative and can build literally anything.
I'm looking at the post. It looks like a dance conga line party, and The one picture you guys let me use for the thumbnail, that's like just in that room itself. That is a lot of people.
That is a lot of people. I believe that was during closing ceremonies. So which is less
730
attended than
attendees.
opening ceremonies. There's always more people at opening ceremonies than at
Oh
closing.
yeah, because people are like wanting to see what's going on, and by the time closing ceremony goes, or even like cosplay contest, like people are gone. So I've been to cosplay contests where they'll announce the person's name, but they're not there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
It
yeah.
happens.
Especially by Sunday, like if they're from out of town, maybe they had to leave already. So like there's always like the least amount of bodies there on Sunday. So the fact that that photo looks as full as it does is like incredible.
No, it is. Now, I think I kind of asked this about this. The name Ookiisora Con. What like made like you said? What made you guys decide on that name?
Well, it went up to a vote, and that one was voted on because it just sounded the coolest. It's Japanese for big sky. So Ookii is big, Sora is sky.
Big
We
Sky Con.
yes,
I
because
love the
Montana
name.
is big sky country. So we were trying to come up with names that related back to Montana. And we are a general pop culture convention, but we do have a very heavy influence of anime. So that's why we went with a Japanese name. Um, there were some others on the list. I honestly don't. I know that one of them had the word Yama in it, which Yama is Japanese for mountain. Um, but out of all the options, Ookiisora, just everyone thought that it sounded the best. I think it's kind of a mouthful to say Ookiisora Con, and it's hard. I sometimes wish we didn't choose a word that had an R in it, because if you're trying to pronounce it properly, like they would in Japanese, it's not Sora, it's, they're Sora, kind of like in between the L and R kind of situation. So trying to like explain that to people who don't understand that is like, I just always call it Ookii for short.
That works. I mean, like you said, it could have been Ookie. Like you said, it could have been Ookiyama, which is like
It could have.
Big mountain
It sure
con.
could have.
Big mountain con.
Yeah. So we always usually just abbreviate to Ookii or just OSC sometimes.
Hence the logo you guys sent me for the thumbnail.
Yes. Or we do have a little bit of an inside joke just amongst the board where we call it the Ookiisora Con.
It's an okay sort of con,
I mean the fact that you got like 730 people this year, and the fact that it sounds like, again, these small conventions, they're just like growing. And I know you guys had this during the summer. What was that like? How was it like? Was there any heat issues?
Surprisingly, no. We managed to hit it. This was the earliest we've had it. We usually do late July. This year we did early July. That was mainly just due to trying to avoid other events happening in town, and then also the availability based on the hotel. So we managed to have the convention right before it got really hot. Like here in Helena for the past like week or two, it's been like in the mid 90s constantly. Whereas during the convention, I think the hottest it got was probably like 80 something, which is still quite warm, but like it wasn't bad. And luckily the hotel does have like AC. There were actually some rooms in the hotel that were like way too cold. I hated going into the electronic gaming room because it was like a literal refrigerator in there.
You guys had a gaming room too?
We sure do.
Oh,
yeah, we have
I don't know if I can go next year, but I definitely want to go to this con now.
You should. We have an entire electronic gaming room. It has like console games. It's got we actually had pinball machines this year. We have DDR. We have computer games. Maybe do we have computer games? I'm not in charge of that room. I don't actually know. But
every year we get what we get.
We switch it up a little bit.
Hey, that makes it more interesting. I imagine you guys did you guys also have like food trucks nearby too? Because I know some cons do, sometimes don't. But it all depends.
I wish.
For according to policies for the hotel, no food trucks are allowed.
Okay, that makes sense.
The hotel has a restaurant, and it's a conflict of interest. They did allow because there's technically a no outside food policy in the hotel. Like you aren't even supposed to be allowed to like go get food and bring it back into the hotel. but they did allow some of our vendors who sell like the imported Japanese snacks.
I've had some of
Yes.
I've had like imported Japanese Lay's chips, which were good but spicy at the same time.
Yes. So there was they do allow that. So like there's like the like little mochi.
Because technically they're a vendor.
It's a non-competitive food to what they sell. They can't sell it themselves, or they won't sell it. So
yeah, it's not in conflict with what they already offer because they don't offer Japanese snacks.
So that makes sense.
Or any snacks at all, I guess.
Yeah,
aside from
in that sense,
restaurants.
Yeah. Fair. So next one. Did either of you cosplay for this con?
No. I believe I cosplayed our first year. And ever since then I do not cosplay at my own convention. It is too much work. I'd
That's
already
fair.
sleep, so trying to wake up like 1 to 2 hours earlier to put on like a costume and makeup, absolutely not. I don't have the time to allow myself to be stopped in the hallway multiple times for photos.
You guys are just like running back and forward and everything.
We are in business mode the whole time, so like I don't have time to be like dressed up. I do dress up. There's a show that we have, a group called the Cheeky Geeky Vaudeville, which Geeky and Snow are involved in, and they perform at the convention every year. I am also part of that group. So when I was performing my piece, I was dressed up in a costume, and I left that on for maybe like an hour or two after the show. But then I changed back into my regular like civilian clothes. And Brian, I believe, also usually doesn't dress up.
Yeah, I have lots of tasks I'm doing throughout the month before the event, so I don't want to put off what needs to be done to get the event going to try to get a costume going too. Pretty much, if I want it, I'm just gonna have to commission people to make my costumes.
I feel that doing like the convention showcases, I'm like going everywhere back and forth, and like by the time I'm like done showcasing this or interviewing this person, I'm just like, and wearing a cosplay on top of that, it's just like, yeah,
okay. Yeah, like when you're on your feet, I mean, obviously you're on your feet all day for a convention anyway, but like when you're actually running back and forth doing work, like you want to be as comfortable as you can be. Like wearing a wig, getting a headache, wearing like uncomfortable shoes just to match your costume, not having pockets. Like I can't. On Thursday of the convention when we were setting up, I didn't plan it, but I just happened to be wearing cargo pants, and that was the best decision I've probably ever made in my life, because I had all the pockets to put everything that I could possibly need on setup day. I had my tape measure, I had my tape, I had my screwdriver and my badges and everything that I could need. It all just fit in my pants.
Nice. So, last question, and both of you can answer this. Advice for those, because this is what I always ask during these convention discussion interviews. Advice for those who want to run their own convention.
Whoa. Wow. I would say number one, go to conventions and learn how they work from that perspective. Definitely pull together a team of people who are like dedicated. Or better yet, the first step I think would be volunteering at another convention. I think that's it, because then you can learn from the people who are already established. They know what they're doing. And if you don't like how they do it, then sure, go start your own and then see if you can make it better.
Same question for you, Brian.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, this is probably not advice anyone ever likes to hear when you're thinking about doing something, but the first step is getting it started, just going and doing the work. And yeah, it's not just like 10 hours of work. We probably put in plus 500 plus hours of work throughout the year to get these events going, to make sure that it's organized well, I could say. So that is a big bit of advice, but don't ever be afraid to reach out and listen to others who have the experience. And the worst that can happen if you reach out to somebody is they're like, nah, I don't have time for you. But in my line of work, in the years I've worked in a lot of different areas of my life, no one has ever just said, nah, I don't have time for you. So don't be afraid to reach out to somebody, even if they look busy all the time, to just get the information you need from them, or to at least work together to mutually benefit each other.
That's some sound advice. Now, if you guys like, as a podcast exclusive, what should people be expecting for Ookiisora Con 2024?
Oh my goodness. Do we even know yet? We have our dates. This is the first year that we have our dates for next year ready. It is
I've noticed a lot of cons lately are like planning for next year right away.
Yes.
So that's exclusive to us normally.
We can say, let's see, because none of this is actually official yet, but we can brainstorm. So, like I said, we always base our theme off of our mascot. Like the mascots are not submitted with like a defined theme. We always just have like a staff meeting where we brainstorm. This cute mascot that we have this year is a dragon. So we've had suggestions of like it being dragon themed, or maybe like mythical beast themed.
Fantasy type.
Yeah. So definitely something along those lines. I know that we're going to be bringing back some of the popular events from this past year. Like the talent show is coming back for sure. People loved that. I don't know if we have many other.
Well, our planning season ends right at the end of the con, and then we don't actually start planning any of the finer details until we give ourselves about a 2-month break.
Hey, so, that's a good thing.
Usually it's going to be longer because we're doing some other activities.
We're getting married.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks. So we're gonna take some time.
Oh no, take that well-deserved time, but then when it gets ready. But I think it's cool that you guys are like already pre-planning for next year.
Yeah, if we're smart, if we actually do it right, then maybe 2 weeks before the convention we'll have everything done. Want to know the funniest thing? We have these banners that we put up. One says registration, the other one says information. We put that at the registration booth. We could not find them anywhere. Brian just found them today. They were just in the house somewhere.
Yeah.
So maybe that means that we'll actually have them for next year. So look forward to seeing that.
Spoiler
everybody.
Alert, banners actually in place.
So last but not least, as I always say at the end of these, where can people find you guys so they can keep up to date on stuff for the con, or just check you guys out on social media?
Okay, well, our website is ookiesoracon.org. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, just at Ookiisora Con. If you want to follow us personally, that's also an option. If you guys care about our personal lives, he's Unagi Logic, and I'm Defective CD Player. Good luck being able to spell that because it's not spelled normal. But yeah, those are our main things. I think we may have a Twitter. That's not how you spell it.
Also, can I just say, I love the name you guys have set on here, the Notice Me Productions. Oh, my immediately goes to Notice Me Senpai.
That's his old username that he used to use for everything.
It's my production company name that I haven't used to produce anything, but
you haven't launched it
on
yet.
The sideline. I work on board games.
I love that name.
Sideline projects.
But yeah, we might have a Twitter. I don't know if we do anymore.
There's our personals, and then.
Oh, sweet! You may have to. I'll probably have you guys send me that through Instagram.
We can do that for sure.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing how. I'm glad to hear that your guys' con's growing. I can't wait to see how it goes next year, and eventually, I'm hoping myself to at least eventually, when I have the funds to travel that far up north to check out the con.
Oh gosh, yeah, I would love that. Or who knows, maybe we'll bring you in as a guest, and we'll just have you interview people the whole time.
Hey, I'm more than happy to help showcase, because I wanted to reach out to more. Well, we'll discuss more after that, but I think that should do it. Again, Brian and BJ, thank you for coming on to talk about Ookiisora Con. Really, again, I also have to thank Iki and Snow for recommending you guys too.
Oh yeah, definitely a huge shout out to them, and thank you for interviewing us. Like I said at the beginning, I think I said it. It's kind of an honor. Like I felt so cool being able to tell people, oh hey, yeah, I'm doing like a podcast interview later. Like,
I mean, the whole point of this channel when it comes to interviews is it's just basically giving people these shout outs, letting them know, all I ask in return is you let people you spread the word to other people about this so they can tune in to see these interviews and the gaming stuff and all that fun stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much for having us.
Of course. And I think that should about do it. As always, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you for watching.